Hey, Ugly Ducklings, it's Erin here, and I am here with Heather McKearnan, who is going to talk to us about the Whole Life Challenge, which is something that we wanted to post about. Hi, Heather.
Hello.
I'm going to read a little bio about Heather, and then we're going to get into talking about what the Whole Life Challenge is and why we want to post about it as Ugly Ducklings. So when Heather is not coaching CrossFit, running her gym, teaching self-defense, leading introductions for Landmark Worldwide, or hanging out with her badass dog, she practices being awesome on a daily basis and likes empowering people to change their lives. So as soon as you told me about the Whole Life Challenge, I was like, absolutely, because I'm changing my life and want to do the challenge and think that it's such a good program just from everything that I've read about it. And obviously, the bigger the community is, the more support everybody in it gets. And it's just, at Ugly Ducklings, we're really about owning your story, but we're also about empowering people to change their own lives. So we've recently, like just what you said about fairy tales, like we've recently posted this quote about like there's no fairy godmothers in this world that's going to fix your problem for you. Like you've got to fix it yourself, and you have to take the steps to do that. So I think that that is just as empowering a message as having hope in something else to assist you with it. So can you tell us about the Whole Life Challenge and what makes it different from other challenges that are kind of going on at the same time?
Sure. So the Whole Life Challenge, I've done the Whole Life Challenge. This will be my 5th time that our gym has done it, and it's the Whole Life Challenge 6th iteration. So the first challenge that they did their test challenge at CrossFit Los Angeles, and it was only open to their gym. And they kind of developed the ideas through doing it with their community, and then, took all the debriefing and suggestions and created the first worldwide challenge. It's an 8-week challenge. There's several elements to it. There's a nutrition element, which is based on the Paleo Diet, though I would say diet is a misnomer, really. And then you work out for 10 minutes a day, and it can be any workout. It could be yoga, swimming, CrossFit, it could be burpees. But it can be a hike with your dog. It could be a swim. There's no one saying what you say is your workout isn't your workout. Like, you can do whatever you choose. And then 10 minutes a day of stretching or mobilizing, doing yoga, whatever that looks like for you. And then you take a supplement every day. And those are the criteria for the challenge. You ring in your scores the next day for the day before. And it's just kind of a game of choices. You put, if you start the day with 5 points for nutrition, and if you ate things that aren't within the parameters of the challenge, which we'll discuss more, but then you take a point. If you say you had a bagel, you would take a point because there's no grains at the highest level, at the most advanced level. Or if you had cream in your coffee, you would take a point because there's no dairy. So really, if you had a bagel and cream in your coffee, you would still have 3 points at the end of your day if you followed the criteria for every other meal. And then if you worked out, you say yes, you get a point. If you did your stretching, you'd say yes, and say you didn't take your supplement, so you would say no, so you don't get that point. And you have a possible score of 11 points at the end of every day, and you basically just choose, like, how seriously you're going to play. If you're going to be perfect, and I've played like that, and it's a profound experience, but I don't play like that anymore.
So there are different levels. There's advanced, immediate, and beginner, correct? Or advanced, intermediate, and beginner.
Right.
So the advanced is no grain, no dairy, no sugar. But then the other ones kind of relax those rules a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So intermediate, I think you can have like one drink or one glass of wine or alcoholic beverage a week, and then you can have, I think, quinoa and brown rice, and you can maybe have cultured dairy like kefir. I could be wrong about that, but that's kind of what my memory is telling me right now.
I think there's yogurt on that one too, just because my sister was like all excited that if she did that level, she could have yogurt. But then,
my sister too.
Then there's other parts of the challenge, right? That every 2 weeks they rotate, and that's kind of where the whole life part comes in.
Every 2 weeks or 1 week. They're lifestyle challenges. So the first one is you drink half your body weight in ounces of water. So like I weigh 125 pounds and I should drink 65 ounces of water a day. And that caps out at 100 ounces. So if someone's 200 plus pounds, they don't have to drink an unreasonable amount of water.
Okay.
And then another lifestyle challenge is sleep. You sleep for 7 hours a night, but you can make up for it with naps if you can't get that 7 hours in a row. And then another one is mindfulness, 10 minutes of mindfulness a day. So meditation or journaling counts. And another one, there are a couple, they switch a few of them out every time, but my favorite one is intentional acts of kindness. So you just do something nice for someone and you get your point. And it's amazing when you think about kind of the ripple effect of what that looks like. There are, 10 to 15,000 people are going to do this challenge this time. So over the course of a week, there are 10 to 15,000 people going out of their way to do something nice for someone else. And then that person, has a better day, or they're nicer to their wife or to their kid or whatever that looks like. You just think of how many times that kind of replicates itself through the day when you make someone smile and their day gets a little better, and then they in turn make someone else's day get better, et cetera, et cetera. I think of that as like changing the world.
Yeah. Yeah, we've promoted random acts of kindness a bunch of times, just through our Twitter and stuff, and it's amazing what people do, and it's amazing kind of the responses that they get. So that is probably going to be my favorite part of the challenge as well.
Yeah.
So, like, as you kind of know, and we've talked about, we're really strongly involved with eating disorder awareness and recovery at Ugly Ducklings. We support a charity or a nonprofit that kind of their like main goal is to educate about eating disorders and healthy coping mechanisms and positive self-esteem. So just with regards to this, some people might, be confused about our involvement in the challenge or find it kind of like sketchy, just because of our involvement with that. Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah. First, I'd like to just acknowledge the work that you guys do, because that's a profound thing, and there's a great need for it in this country. So I just really acknowledge what you guys are out to impact and create and support through the work that you're doing. So with the Whole Life Challenge, why I said Paleo Diet is a misnomer is that it's really more like a way of living and a way of being than watching your portions or counting your calories. It's really about the scientific research that's been done with anti-inflammatory and low glycemic diets. And so your glycemic index is like the amount of sugar that runs around in your body, right? And a lot of foods like simple carbohydrates such as, bread and things with flour, and those are things that have a very high glycemic index, so they spike your insulin. And once your insulin is spiked, that can't be maintained very long, so shortly thereafter you have your kind of crash. So what it creates is like a very up and down energetic, and like your energy levels go up and down very frequently and to big degrees, varying degrees.
Right.
So the Paleo Diet works on a very low glycemic index, so you maintain a low insulin level in your blood, and you end up having very steady energy levels and like kind of a reserve of energy through the day. And I have also found with myself that like my moods have stabilized quite a bit since taking on this way of eating, so that I'm not so moody and like, which is really great, I have to say. And then the other thing, so low glycemic and then anti-inflammatory. So when your body reacts to certain foods like dairy and gluten, it reacts to those things as if there's inflammation in your body, and inflammation is kind of a state of duress, right? So your body almost acts like it's sick because of this inflammation in your body, and that's kind of how your energy levels work off that. And so when you start to eat a low inflammatory diet, anti-inflammatory diet, your body gets to use its systems more properly, like, digestive system and circulatory system, and all those are getting used for what they're really meant to do, which is to create a stasis of health, right? And not like this being kind of constantly in shock of disease or, pathogen, like that there's a foreign substance in your body that your body has to protect itself against, which is how it kind of treats those inflammatory foods. Does that make sense? So it's more about kind of creating a stasis, like a wellness in your body, and less about, like I don't count calories. I don't worry about my food portions. I do try to drink a ton of water, because I think that there's some statistic where like 60% of, and this is wrong, I have the percentage wrong, but something like 60% of the time that your body thinks it's hungry, it's really thirsty.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is crazy. So, but, I eat what I want within these parameters, because I've done a lot of experimenting with what makes me feel good and what doesn't.
Right.
And diet really works for me as far as making myself feel good. I'm also a pretty high-performing athlete, and it maintains my energy levels and gives me the fuel that I need to perform at that level. And so it's not about like, just to reiterate, it's not about counting calories or portion control at all. Like if you eat these certain foods and avoid some other certain foods, you can eat as frequently and as much as you choose depending on what your goals are. And it's not like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not meant to be a sacrifice necessarily,
Yeah.
It is a challenge for sure, but it's not like you're depriving yourself of anything. It's really like you're making really good choices, and you're getting super familiar with how things make you feel. And then at the end of the Whole Life Challenge, after 8 weeks, you get to decide what to reintroduce and what to leave out in the future. And for me, like even this being the 5th time I am doing the challenge, and I'm like a gluttonous person. Like I love food. I don't eat food for like sustenance as much as I do for pleasure. And I still have chosen to eliminate things from my diet because of the way they make me feel. For example, like flour, I only ate flour products for the whole first 40 years of my life. And now I don't eat that anymore, because once I eliminated it and tried to reintroduce it, I was really aware of how it made me feel. And that wasn't good. It makes me feel, sluggish and almost hungover and bloated and tired, like I could go to sleep in public. And like I just don't choose, like for the 10 seconds of pleasure that eating a roll is for me, it takes me 2 days to recover from it. And in my kind of line of work and what I'm up to, that's just too big a sacrifice for me. It's not worth it.
So it's almost like a mindfulness challenge too, like being mindful of what you put in your mouth, and like just what the ingredients are in your, like my sister and I are doing the challenge, and we've been preparing now, and it's amazing what you learn is in stuff that you don't even realize.
I forgot that's a big part of the challenge is no processed food. So when you read something and you don't know what it is, like you can't pronounce it, right? Don't eat it. But if you don't know what it is, like xanthan gum, like you can't eat it. And natural flavors too are often kind of a mysterious thing that you probably don't want to be putting in your body as well, depending on the source. But in this challenge, natural flavors, if you read that on a label, you're if you can have that, but you have to take a point for it.
Right. Yeah. And just another thing, like I think I talked to you about this too, but and this is not coming from a professional like eating disorder expert, but like I know that one of the major things with eating disorder recovery is safe foods and like expanding what you'll eat. And I know that like I looked at the list of what we're allowed to eat in like the protein, list. And I was just like, oh my gosh, there are like 30 foods on this list that I would never eat right now. So it's actually going to expand like what I'll eat. And because otherwise I'm going to be eating like the same 5 things for 8 weeks every day. So it's actually like might be beneficial in that way. Like not, like I said, not for necessarily somebody in recovery from an eating disorder, but also not necessarily not.
Well, and I would say too that part of the whole point of this way of eating is for health and nutrition, nourishment. So like food as nourishment as opposed to like food as filler, like food as fuel.
Yeah.
And when you're eating mindfully and you're eating things that really nourish your body, there's a healing and a healthfulness that happens from that doesn't happen when you're not eating that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I don't honestly know enough about eating disorders to be speaking on the subject, except that I think that there's healthy eating and then there's not healthy eating, and there's all sorts of reasons for doing one or the other,
Right.
And to choose to eat healthfully and to really nourish your body might have a positive effect on that, on just that healing that relationship with food a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have a personal highlight from one of the whole life challenges that you've participated in?
I definitely think that last challenge, the finals are always really amazing. So we do a preliminary workout, and then you do that same workout 8 weeks later, and you do it exactly as you did it. So like say you do, I can't remember what the workout was last time.
5 burpees.
5 burpees, 10
sit-ups, and 15 squats.
10 sit-ups and 15 squats, and that was 11 minutes or 12 minutes?
12 minutes AMRAP.
Yeah, as many rounds as possible. So say you do 5 burpees, 10 push-ups, 15 squats, as many rounds as possible of that in 12 minutes. You do that again 8 weeks later after, really cleaning up your diet and taking your supplements and stretching and working out, and you'll see everyone has just kind of profound improvements. And so the finals are always just like an amazingly emotional and joyous day. Not only are you happy that, you've done the work and the challenge is over and you could eat nachos now or whatever if you wanted to, but it's just really, everyone has, had all this self-discovery and these big, profound shifts, and everyone feels really good and everyone feels like they're in it together, and it's just this beautiful kind of culmination of it. And so this last challenge, there was that video, and I don't know if you can post that video, but there is
Yeah, we're going to share that on Thursday as our inspiration.
Awesome.
Inspiration for Thursday, so.
Yeah, so my friend Crystal, who over the last 3 years has lost 100 pounds, but started on her own and really started just so slowly, like started by like walking to the end of her block and then, walking 2 blocks. And she is such a trooper. She's so incredible. And she joined CrossFit maybe a year and a half ago. And she's persevered and pushed through, but she had on that day weighed herself and realized that she'd lost 120
pounds, 120 or 125 pounds. And she said, from the beginning of her decision to, take control of her life again, she asked me how much I weighed, and I was like, I weigh, I don't know, 120, 125 pounds. And she was like, that's how much weight I've lost. And it was it really brought it home, like, to be like, wow, you lost a whole person. And so she talks about that in the video of the finals, and it's just so emotional, and she's so beautiful, and she's just like, she speaks incredibly well through her tears. And it's just like, she inspires me every single day, and like, you would have to be dead inside not to be inspired by her, like, yeah. She's just, no matter what you're struggling with, and we're all struggling, she's just so real and human and vulnerable and authentic. And she makes it all worthwhile, like everything that I do, I just feel like she demonstrates why I do what I do.
Yeah.
And that and just like, so that's my most inspiring, definite, like, I can point to, and you guys can watch it, which is great. I always learn something new about myself. And I'm a person who's really committed to my own personal growth. And so I do a lot of that kind of work outside of the gym, but I love to be able to incorporate it into the gym too. And so even when it's just like bringing awareness and mindfulness, like, I love that you said that, and I'm totally going to use that in my pitch about the Whole Life Challenge going forward, is like, it's really a mindfulness challenge, but bringing mindfulness to like the things that we don't often think about, like, just, I used to drink a mocha every day. There's this place in town called O'Horry's, and they're one of our sponsors for the Whole Life Challenge, but they make really good coffee, and they make amazing mochas. And I used to start my day every day with a mocha, and I never even thought of it. It was just what I did. It was my routine. It was my treat, something I looked forward to. And the first Whole Life Challenge, I actually was like, oh, snap, I have to give up my mocha. And so I gave up my mocha, and it was no biggie. Like, we weren't drinking butter coffee yet, so we were just I was just drinking like black coffee with some stevia in it. And, before you know it, that replaces that. It's like not a big deal. Like, I'm not missing my mocha, like I'm mad about it or anything. Yeah. And then when the challenge is over, I never went back to drinking a mocha every day. Like, it's something that I allow as a treat for myself. I probably maybe have one a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, maybe one every day when I'm on vacation. But it's just that kind of thing where it's like, I never would have said like, I need to give up mochas, or I should give up a mocha, or whatever. But it's just like that, bringing awareness to like your choices, and then getting to choose powerfully with like an informed decision about how that makes me feel. Because the mochas don't work on me really like coffee. They like, it's that same kind of high glycemic, like big buzz and then a big drop,
Yeah.
So kind of taking a different approach to coffee, and it's like, I don't miss it necessarily. I don't like miss it like in a complainy way. It's just kind of how it is now.
Yeah. It's amazing how fast your taste buds can change. Like, yeah. I was drinking with my sister last night, and the wine that we had was this like really, really sweet wine, and it's just the wine that we had. And we both had to add stuff to it so that we could actually bear to drink it, because it was so sweet to us both. Like, we've both been off sugar. Like, I've been off sugar for like 3 months, and she's been off sugar for like a year. So we couldn't even handle it. Like, we still drank the whole bottle of wine. That wasn't a problem, but
right.
You know what I mean? It just lasted longer.
Well, sort of on the same realm, not necessarily with the taste, but just in the making habits, creating and breaking habits. They say it takes 30 days to break a habit, and it takes also 30 days to really create and form a new habit. So that's part of why I love the length of this challenge, because you've got that 8 weeks. You've got 30 days to break your habits and 30 days to create new ones. And I think that there's a science to that.
No, it is exactly that long. Okay, so you've kind of answered like our next two questions, but so just basically we're going to post the link to how you can sign up to kind of join the community that we're both a part of, like your Undisputed Fitness community, for anyone who is going to join. And then within that, I think like when Ugly Ducklings sign up, we can make a sub-community within.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, okay. So
you can join a team. Like you join our community, and I'll tell you why you want to do that. And then you can join a team and create your own little teams.
So why should we join your community?
Well, because, it's the fifth
awesome.
time. So we're awesome, but this is something we do really well, and we really love it. We really believe in it. And we've put about 1,000 people through this challenge. I was just counting up like the amount of people that we've put through the challenge in the 4 previous challenges, and this will be our 5th, and we already have a team of 100 right now. And it kind of, it grows its own momentum. But so we've put 1,000 people through, and we write a newsletter, and we correspond a lot. The website that the Whole Life Challenge is on is really robust. So there's a lot to it. They blog every day, and then we do a newsletter once a week with like a recipe and like a home workout and a mobility thing, like a stretch that can, that'll probably be new to a lot of people. And we just try to make it as enriching of an experience as possible. And it's so much easier. Like you'll really see how much support you get from our community. So people write reflections every day at the end of your post about like, I did this, I didn't do this. However many points you got, you have an opportunity to write like a little reflection. It's kind of like a Twitter thing.
And you get bonus points for it.
And you get a bonus point every 5 days that you do that consistently in a row.
Yeah.
So with that bonus point, like at the end, you can't take your bonus points with you, So
yeah.
So you might as well like do something nice for yourself with them, and like have a glass of wine or have whatever it is that you love that you're kind of giving up for the challenge, And I think that's a really healthy way to approach it. And but we just love to interact with people, and we love to support them, and our community is really a strong community. And you don't have to be a member of our gym, obviously. My sister did it. My sister and her husband and their friend did it in Montpelier, Vermont, this last challenge. We have people all over the country join our community, and friends and family. And our community, our gym community, is really amazing at enrolling their friends and family to do it with them, which is such a powerful thing. So we usually have at least equal numbers of members of our gym who do it to people who are, doing it remotely across the country.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you wanted to say before we close?
I just think it's awesome what you're doing, and I hope that a couple of people are intrigued, and I'm totally available to answer questions, and Erin will give you the link, the contact link, and then if you join under Undisputed Fitness, you'll get our newsletter and all that, and you'll be able to email us and write us questions. And it's exciting. I'm just excited about it all.
I'm actually really excited to start. I feel like I've been having like pre-traumatic stress disorder about it, but in a good way. So I'm excited. So yeah, if any Ugly Ducklings do join, be sure to tell Marie and I as well, so that we can kind of keep us in a group together, and just so that we know. And yes, so thank you so much for coming on and sharing everything with us.
Thanks for having me.
And yeah, if anyone does have questions, if we get like a big response, then we'll maybe do a part 2.
Awesome.